What's up, guys, in the works? And we've got a pretty random video today where we're going to talk about all sorts of stuffs. We're just going to talk about stuffs. But this is the return of Wallace. A lot of you guys have been asking, where's Wallace? Well, Wallace is right here, guys. He's just been taking a little bit of a break. He hasn't had a whole lot of reasons to hop out. And if you're kind of scratching your head at this point, Wallace is my alternative Battlefield 3 account. I use it to goof around. I use it just to relax on, because it gets kind of stressful playing on my normal account because everybody knows me, and you get into lobbies where people just want you to have a bad time, or it just gets, you have to perform at a certain level. So I tend to hop on this every once in a while when I want to just have a break, just want to go into a server and to have a little bit of fun. But over the weekend I've been watching, and that sign is floating right there. Look at that. That sign is floating in midair. But over the weekend I was actually watching a lot of different competitive Battlefield 3 stuff. There was that huge event that went on that I tweeted out on Sunday evening, Sunday afternoon, whatever it was in your time zone. I watched that, and before that I had actually been watching some old scrims of a couple competitive teams, and it got me to thinking, it's like, whoa, what if I use the M16 and like M416 24/7? Where would I be in the stat categories? Because honestly, my stats aren't great. I don't ever coin myself as the best Battlefield 3 player in the world. I mean, those competitive players are so much better than me. It's ridiculous. The skill gap there is just astronomical. But I was like, man, what would my stats be like if I only used the M16? So I tried it out over the weekend. I got a handful of games, and I think I dropped maybe 4 or 5 different 100-kill games. One in particular where I used the M16, I got I got like a 130 and 29 game on Metro. And Metro is no skill measure by any means. It's usually like who can spam the most nades and push forward and spawn trap people. So definitely not a huge skill measure, but it did feel nice to kind of just let it all out, because I feel guilty when I use the M16 on the In the Works account. So I was like, let's just let Wallace do the killing, because I would hate to knock my ACWR out of the top slot on my In the Works account. That and the AN94 are pretty high up there. And honestly, on In the Works, the majority of my M16 kills actually came from the M16A4. That's a little fun fact if you ever stalk my battle log. Most of my M16 kills actually came from the A4. I very, very rarely ever put it on. It's pretty good. I don't know if you guys have ever tried it. It's a pretty good weapon. I mean, it's not too shabby. No, I'm just joking. Obviously, it's the best weapon in the game, but it is nice to kind of let loose every once in a while and use some of the stronger weapons without feeling super, super guilty. So I do apologize. I will be switching here to the M416. But to make it better, I'll use iron sights. Here, that'll be a compromise. We're using iron sights. But over the weekend, though, I actually tweeted out, and a lot of you guys made fun of me. You were like, okay, Jake, this is the dorkiest thing ever. But I was asking you guys' opinion on Magic the Gathering Online. And if you don't know what Magic the Gathering is, it's actually a trading card game, and they actually have an online version. And I was thinking, I was actually telling my girlfriend, I was like, man, the older you get, the more okay it is to be a complete nerd. I mean, at that point, you can be as dorky as you want, because you don't have anyone to impress. I mean, who's going to make fun of me at school when I play Magic the Gathering, or if I play video games and talk about them on YouTube? There's really nothing to worry about there, because I'm at the age where I can be dorky. I can do the stupid things that okay, maybe I didn't want to do that in college because all the girls would be like, this kid he's kind of a dork. But I don't know what it is. I just had the urge to kind of revisit some of the cool hobbies I had back when I was younger. And a lot of you guys don't actually know this, but my first job was actually working at a hobby shop. And the hobby shop that I worked at specialized in trading card games, sports memorabilia. I was a huge baseball and hockey fan back in the day, so that was awesome to be able to deal with like hockey cards and baseball cards, stuff like that. But then they also had like Magic the Gathering cards, and I played a lot of different Magic matches. And I was actually pretty good back in my heyday. I was actually a pretty good Magic player. But then on the side of that, which is actually kind of interesting, it's probably where I got a lot of my first-person shooter skills from, is we actually used to have Halo LAN type stuff where you could actually pay to play LAN. And this is kind of confusing because a lot of you guys probably grew up in the age where Xbox Live was at its at its height. But in the original Halo, if you wanted to play multiplayer, you either played with a friend on split screen, or you had like a LAN setup where you had 4 Xboxes hooked up via a router, and you would sit down and you would play in the same room. Or you could, take the Ethernet cable and stretch it to the other room. But if you wanted to play multiplayer, that was the only way to do it. So essentially what this place did is they had a room in the back where you could pay to play for a set amount of hours, and you could play Halo with whoever was there. And it was actually pretty cool. It was actually one of the coolest places in the world for me at the time, and it was awesome that I got to work there because I got to play a lot of Halo, I got to play a lot of Magic, and it was a really, really good time. And you tend to take those kind of things for granted. You get to the age where it's like, okay, society tells me if I do these things now, I'm going to be considered a dork. And I'm not insulting you if you still do that. Obviously, I was a complete nerd back when I was younger. I used to like to do a lot of things that are classified as not as cool as the mainstream stuff. But we got a lot of older guys in there who were in there just because they're at the point where they had a kid. They're married. They're not worried about their image, and they would go in there and they would just, they would do a lot of the things that they probably wanted to do when they were younger, like play a lot of video games, play Magic the Gathering. And it was actually kind of cool, and I always told myself, it's like, when I get to the age where I'm older and it doesn't matter, I'm gonna do whatever I want. And that's why I've been playing a lot of Magic. I mean, honestly, there's a lot of, it's actually a really like intense game. I've noticed that I've started playing it more, and it's got my brain thinking better. It kind of reminds me of like those brain games you see on the Nintendo DS, because there's a lot of thought that has to go into that stuff, and it kind of keeps you sharp. So I have been playing a lot of Magic the Gathering online. I am guilty. So all that nerd talk aside, let's talk about some Battlefield 3 stuff. Now, I know you're probably like, man, that was the most boring video ever, Jake. I come here for Battlefield 3 tips and tricks. Well, we're going to talk about some big projects I've been working on. And we're going to just use this video as like a catch-up video because I very rarely take time to sit down and talk to you guys. And a lot of you guys said that you would prefer one of these every once in a while. But I've alluded to some really big projects I've been working on Twitter. And I'm still trying to find an editor for my, quote, montage project. And I'm a good editor, don't get me wrong. I can edit basic videos. I can edit, like cinematic stuff like that. But when it comes to montages, I just don't have the experience with it that's needed to put together a really good montage. So if you, one of your buddies, or anyone might want to help me work on a montage, I'm really looking for someone with experience in the montage Battlefield 3 realm. I would consider a Call of Duty editor too if they think that they could pull it off, but I don't like a lot of flashy stuff. I like solid editing that's not like over the top. I don't like strobe lights and stuff like that. So feel free to send me a message on YouTube if you'd be interested in helping me with that. I know I've kind of had a few responses, and I'm kind of going through them as I get time. But send me an example. I'd love to work with one of you guys because, like I said, I'm just not the best when it comes to montage type stuff. But I've also got a really cool project planned for in-game that you guys are going to love. It's been eating me up that I can't tell you guys about it, but it's one of those things where I can't spoil it. Or if I tell you guys, someone else will probably steal my idea and have it up, the first day in-game comes out. But it's actually pretty cool. I'm looking forward to that. So a lot of cool Battlefield 3 stuff coming down the pipe. Hopefully you did enjoy the slaughtering that you've seen in front of you from Wallace. Very rarely will you see me use the high-powered assault rifles and try really, really hard, but I figured I'd make an exception today since, we hadn't seen Wallace in a while, and I just felt like showing you guys some pretty good gameplay. Because every once in a while I need to feel good about my skills. But if you missed my other videos, here's a chance to catch up, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.